Hello and welcome to Lesson 2. Lesson 2 is all about what are good keywords, right? So we talked about understanding Etsy SEO, so you have a good idea of what goes into, having good SEO in your shop. But it's very important to understand what are good keywords so you know them when you find them. Because, how do you know if you found what you're looking for if you don't know what it looks like, right? All right. Well, again, I have some handy diagrams here. Some illustrations, if you will, to help me out in explaining this. Also, again, we have a single page sheet. Make sure you grab that. Really hoping the single page sheets are popular and they work. I like them because, again, you can print them out and everything is kind of right here. Reference-wise, we can talk more about it up here and explain it, but this way you don't have to go back and remember where in the video it was or which video it was. You can just look at the handy sheet. On with it. All right. Competition you can handle, okay? It's really important that you put your listings in targeting keywords where you can handle that amount of competition. If you are on page 50 for a search, that's not going to help you because no one's going there. So you need competition where you can actually get to the top. And for that, my illustration is this set of circles here. These circles that get larger and larger because the idea is the smaller the pool that you're competing with, the easier it is to be the winner. It's easier to be the top when there's two people in the race, right? It's easier to be faster than that one other random person, right? It's easier to be faster than like your neighbor, right? There's nothing special about that. But then to have a race with everybody in the whole city, well, are you faster than everybody in your whole city? I'm not. All right, how about your whole state? Again, no country, no world. We're talking about Olympic level. The person who wins the Olympics, right? They're the best in that particular thing in the entire world. Well, it takes a lot to get up there. That's a lot of competition. You don't just wake up one day and decide, hey, I'm going to win the Olympics tomorrow, right? Granted, people do win the Olympics because at some point they say, hey, I'm going to go win the Olympics. And people are like, okay. And then they go and do it, right? But it's years of dedication to get to that level. So depending where you are, choose your level of competition wisely. You don't have to start at the most competitive, right? If you're a new shop, don't start at the most competitive. Build your way up there. And we can get into more another time about how you can compete in these more competitive markets, right? Next, so number 2, a price range that fits with your product, right? So a shopper is going to do a search. They're going to see a bunch of listings on the page. They're going to see photos and they're going to see prices, okay? So you don't really want to shock them with your prices. Okay, so I have this price chart here. In the keyword analysis section, the keyword search part of Marmalead, we have a price chart and it's called price spread, right? Because it's going to show you the spread or the distribution of listings and where they're priced and how many are priced at that particular level. So across the bottom, you have the dollar amount, and going upward, the vertical axis, you have the quantity. So for example, there are about 5 products here, 5, that are priced at $10. That's important. Now, you can see the average is right in here. So I put these little pink bands here to kind of distinguish, okay, if it's in here, we're talking pretty average price, okay? They pretty much fit in right there. So they're the normal quality for that page. Below that, something is going on. Either they're smaller, they're lower quality, something's different. They're not quite like the normal. Over here, 15, 20, well, these are high. These are high price and perceived as higher quality. Or again, maybe there's more of them, they're larger, something else is going on. So the point is you want to fit in the right way. And a lot of times when we talk to shops, they underprice. They underprice because they're nervous. They underprice because they're nervous. Why would someone pay this for my product? And then they artificially put themselves in that lower, right? Their quality is perceived as lower, even if they might be a higher quality product. It's not uncommon for us to hear shops say, well, the shops I compete with, they are charging just as much, but they don't hand paint stuff, right? Or maybe they don't paint it at all. So it's jewelry or something, and their stuff isn't painted, but I go through the extra step of doing that and they're selling the same price. Well, actually, you should be able to raise your price because you're actually adding something of value. You're standing out in a good way. So when people see it cost a little bit more, they'll look at why and they'll understand. And if they're the right fit, they're going to buy it. And that's good. Everyone's going to be happier this way. To illustrate how that works and how positioning works, I have 2 glasses of wine. But I'm going to tell you that this glass of wine costs twice as much as this one. Which glass do you think has better wine? Which wine do you think you're going to enjoy more? Well, if you said the more expensive wine, then you would agree with most studies that have been done about wine. When you hand someone an expensive glass of wine and ask, well, what you tell them is an expensive glass of wine, and ask them to, and then a cheaper wine, you ask them to just explain the difference. Now, this is even wine connoisseurs, people who are, really into wine. And they will tell you how much better this expensive one costs. In a lot of these studies, they'll actually hand them the same wine. Or there's other studies where they'll hand them a white and a red, but the white had a little bit of food coloring in it and stuff. People's perception of quality is so anchored to things like price. So if you tell them it costs more, they're going to perceive it as higher quality. This is not to say that you should take an average or low quality product, put a high price tag on it, because people will catch on to that. But what I'm saying is if you have a high quality product, but put a low price on it, people are going to expect it to be a lower quality product, even though you're putting all that effort into it and they just don't realize it. All right, the next is good engagement. So as you know, if you've been around Marmalead for a little while, and if you're new, you're gonna learn it now, but we're all about engagement. We're all about shoppers searching and then doing something with the listings, because it means they did a search and then they went and actually visited the listings because that page had things that they were interested in. That's really good. So we're talking about views and we're talking about favorites. This right here is a happy blog. So I'm using blog as an example because I feel like a lot of you are going to relate to what a blog is, how a blog kind of works. I'm sure you've read blog posts and those things. Well, one common misunderstanding is that every blog post for a popular blog is just getting, thousands or hundreds of thousands of views every month. But that's not the case. So these really popular blogs, the blogs that get tons of unique readers every single month, actually, if you look at where their traffic is coming from, they have a lot of blog posts. Now, yes, their blog posts are performing well, but they're not performing extraordinary. They're not getting alone hundreds of thousands of views per month or millions of views per month. It's actually hundreds of them getting a reasonable amount of views that just adds up to something big. So the idea is, well, the point I'm trying to make is, you're not looking for a grand slam, home run, what other sort of example I could give for that? You're not looking for some crazy Midas touch type keyword where you choose this one keyword and that's the thing that just sends you over the top. I mean, maybe that can happen, but I don't think it's going to. Instead, the proven strategy for getting traffic, and this is what they'll do, they have a whole bunch of posts and they target keywords and they get their handful of views of readers from those, and once they come and read the one, well, now they know about the blog, so now they're going to keep up to date with it and they keep coming back, and it just kind of builds. And that's also why you can't build big blog traffic and following just overnight. So keep in mind, have a strategy, have a bunch, understand it takes time to build, and you're not just looking for one really awesome keyword that's going to totally change everything. It's going to be a handful of them, and it's going to build up. All right, next, top tags and listings actually that fit with what you're selling. You want your product, again, with price, but also the way it looks, and just make sure it's a right category fit and everything for what the shopper is seeing on the page. Stand out in the right way, okay? All for being different, all for standing out, catching their attention, that's essential. But you want to make sure you stand out in the right way. So what I have here is you do a search, and I'm sorry, I'm limited on what I can really draw product-wise because, well, I'm more of a Picasso with these things instead of like a Dutch impressionist, right? So to make sure you can actually understand what I'm drawing, I've drawn flowers to keep it simple. So you're doing a search, and here pops up flower, flower, palm tree, flower. Well, I'm not really expecting this. And if I'm not looking for palm trees, if I'm looking for flowers, And then all of a sudden, maybe even smaller things, right? Small flowers, something maybe fit in my house. Then I see a huge palm tree. What is this thing doing here? It's kind of a waste for you to target that if you're doing the palm tree. Because if I'm looking for flowers, I'm really not in the market for a palm tree. But you might say, but hey, Richie, palm trees are actually flowers, kind of like tomatoes are actually fruits. Well, when I'm thinking fruit, I'm not typically saying, I'm not typically thinking, hey, someone please hand me a tomato, okay? It might be categorized that way, but it's not what I'm expecting. So maybe someone's gonna be pleasantly surprised when they're searching for flowers that, hey, there's a palm tree, I didn't even realize I wanted one, but for the most part, targeting a search where the rest of the results don't really fit in with what you're selling is probably not gonna work out well. So that pretty much wraps up. There's 4 in this one. It's called the What Are Good Keywords single page reference guide. Make sure to check it out, print it out, and see you in lesson 3.